We are live on this beautiful, what day is it? Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, I think. Yeah, how you guys, how's weather out there in Long Island? It's like a whole other
We have
climate out there.
we have a very different climate out here.
You do.
It's
In
good
a lot of
actually.
ways, by the way. In a lot of ways.
It's sunny right now, but I think it's supposed to rain later. We're
That's
like
great.
delayed from you guys. It's interesting, if you look at like New York City for weather, we're nowhere. It's like we're in the middle of nowhere out here.
Because you are in the middle of nowhere. Congratulations. I'm only
You're in the
kidding.
middle of the Atlantic Ocean, actually.
This is the last Long Island joke I will make during this webinar. After we get off different stories. Let's just hang a bit. We have some people joining us.
Sure.
Yeah, give people a few more minutes. Get their lunch together. Get everything together. What'd you guys do this weekend? Anything barbecue, celebrate freedom? What'd you guys do?
All the above.
All the above.
Yeah, man.
Got the pool open. Well, it's been open, but got people in it finally.
Nice.
It's like an ice bath, though. I mean, if you're into the ice plunges.
I am. And I went into mine and it was 61 degrees the other day, 2 weeks ago. We just opened it up. So I always have to be the first one in, but I do it. I did 3-minute sits in there. I did 3 or 4 of them. Wakes you up, man. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah. We opened ours middle of April. And once it was clear, I'm like, let me jump in. And I
Yeah.
got the same feeling from an ice bath. Like your body just felt very like just relaxed. It's great.
You talk about a 200% increase in dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine. It's things that if we had buttons on our arm to press to release, we would just press them all day. The cold plunges I've done in the past were in like regular room temperature rooms. So when you get out, your body to warm up it's faster. But when I got out, it was only like 60 degrees, 50 something degrees outside. So my wife's got the video and ring of me pacing back and forth like a maniac trying to warm up after it. She goes, "Are you happy?" I go, "Yeah, I'm happy. I would do it again." Yeah, pretty funny. And she's like, "This is what you look like." And here's just me just doing that for 20 minutes. So it was fun. It was fun. It was a good weekend, good
You
weather.
like a lot of extreme stuff, though. I feel like even the sauna, right? What temperature did you do in the sauna, I guess?
I got mine. So the company I bought it from said, "Hey, the max is 185." So in my head, I go, "You want to bet?" So I bought a bigger heater for it. It's an electric, it's a dry sauna. So I bought my size sauna and I got a bigger heater and I got it to 224.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's hot. There's guys on the internet I saw, guys on an Aerodyne bike. You know what an Aerodyne bike is, right? So you're biking on with oven mitts on because it's so hot in the sauna, and he's doing the bike in the sauna. So as extreme as you think I am, there's always someone that's is one upping me, and I'm scared of that
I'll give
person.
it 6 months. You'll have one on order. You'll be in there with the oven mitts. I give it
So
6
you
months.
want so let's be transparent. I've already measured to see if an Aerodyne bike would fit.
Yeah. So I know you too well at this point.
I'm halfway there. I don't know if I'm going to commit to that. That's a lot, dude. That's a lot. I think what I'm doing is just fine. When I feel it's not challenging anymore, I know an Aerodyne bike fits. I know which make and model.
Yeah.
So I'm halfway there. All right, we're gonna kick this off. We got a good amount of people joined here, which is great. Let me just see here real quick. Oh, my notes. Got it. Okay, great. So thanks everyone for joining us. We have Dave Dalbiero and Carmine Coppola with us today talking about the independent channel and their journey, which is a very interesting journey, to say the least. They joined Cornerstone after a couple different stops, which is great. We're going to talk about the good and the bad. I think it's really important to discuss the bad, discuss that, this is probably the biggest decision that they've made in their career, and it was in mine. Let's get over some of the myths, some of the legends, some of the good, the bad, the ugly, but get perspective of someone that's walked through the minefield of being in those constrained environments that are built to make us feel comfortable, that everything is good. Here's your benefits. Here's your annual trip. If you're as good as you say, as good as we say you are. This is the trip that we think you deserve. That's comfortable, right? All that stuff is checked off, pension, benefits, the whole nine. To take the plunge out is hard. So, these two fine gentlemen took 2 plunges. So let's talk about where you went from major insurance company number 1 to major insurance company number 2 to flipping the script and going indie RIA with Cornerstone. So let's talk about you guys met at insurance company number 1 and started working together, right?
Yep.
What happened at insurance company number 1? Like, what were the moving factors that got you to say, this isn't our home?
Well, interestingly enough, I think I'll backtrack a little bit. When I started in 2011. When I started, it was very much a sales culture at company number 1. And for the most part, there was probably like 2 financial planners total in the entire firm of 250 people. And I immediately kind of gravitated towards that. In fact, again, the culture was kind of at the point there where they were just kind of sell, move on, sell, move on. In fact, I got made fun of for coddling my clients. I was told that was a bad thing. But kind of fast forward that the company actually put a lot of money into getting better with clients and engaging clients better. And that's around the time when I met Carmine. And Carmine had come in, and then we had started working together kind of informally. And then unfortunately there was a takeover that happened with another major insurance company that took over the company we were with. And pretty much at that point we were told everything from drop your series licensing because we're not an investment firm, to like, hey, you guys are really missing the boat if you're not selling our core product. And then they even started to change everything about how your benefits were calculated, everything, to the fact that if you didn't do enough of their one specific core product, they actually were going to take away your health insurance. So that was kind of, for us, we were like, wait a second, like we came a long way with that company number 1, and went towards that planning, that planning landscape. And it was awesome. I'm not going to lie. It actually was really great. I would say again, that the last few months before that takeover happened, it's actually really great, because they were pushing to be more holistic. They were pushing for you to be, engage the client more, listen to the client more reviews, things like that. But again, they took over and they were like, hey, no, we are a core product insurance shop, and you're going to do that or you don't have a place here.
So they started with the planning first mantra, which we've heard many companies talk about this, and some companies talk about it, but don't practice it, right? I've seen companies like that, where this company was truly like, hey, planning first, right? Let's listen to the client, goals and objectives, state of the union, recommendations, help the client holistically to drop your licenses that allow you to act in your client's best interest, potentially. We just want you to sell the product we manufacture. Oh, and by the way, if you don't, the benefits for you and your family are in jeopardy, and your ability to be an advisor is in jeopardy as well.
What was interesting too is the fact that the financial plan at the time, they had hired someone in the firm who was super qualified, and I wish we could have gotten her afterwards because she was just so awesome. But she was a CFP CPA, and she took planning serious. But what ended up happening is what happened now at company number 2, is which one we left this one. The same thing. That's actually the first time we experienced the rules changing like that. But they basically wanted the plan to be a delivery vehicle for their core products. That's really what it was in the end. And that's what again, for us, that was, our clients had come to expect a certain type of experience from us and certain level of expertise from us. And then they wanted us basically to say like, hey, we're just going to go convert all of our wealth management and all of our planning clients. We're just going to make them all by whole life. And that was just a no-no.
And Carmine, same kind of perception, right? So you and Dave knew each other, going down the planning road, helping your clients holistically, then pump the brakes, new company comes in, culture change overnight. I know many people that were at the firm that was taken over by the other insurance company. Very similar story. And you both kind of looked at each other and said, boy, hold on, this is not what we were told.
Yeah, no, I started in 2015, so a few years after Dave. So I came in the start like he used to be Series 7, Series 66, the insurance licensing. So I never, and that's something I think that's unique to me and to Dave as well, is we were never really at an insurance company just selling insurance. We were always planning first, investment kind of management. And I think for us, we were more just navigating, like, how do we stay here with all these other,
Mm,
things being thrown at us, like, oh, drop your licenses, or oh, hey, we just sold to another insurance company. And so we were kind of just like always navigating away. And then when we went to insurance company, I guess 2 or 3, I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's where
let's call it 2.
well,
Yeah.
we'll call it 2. That's where we met you. And
Yep.
that was a different type of game because it was set up nicely where the RA was separate from the rest of the company. The
Mm,
rules were kind of different. They kind of kept it separate, which we liked a lot. But then that all changed, right? And it's stuff out of our control. And once again, it was the same story. Like, if you don't sell these products or do this, then your benefits are going down, your grid's going down. So now it's affecting you and your family.
hmm
And we were growing like crazy at the time too, but the company almost made us feel like we were doing something wrong, which we weren't, though. It was such a mind game that was being played.
So you're at insurance company number 2. We were there for a good amount of time together. I actually was involved in you when you first engaged insurance company number 2. I was kind of brought in as kind of give you over an overview of their RA and ways to operate, which was better than where you were, but
Without
still
it.
constrained, right? Still gave you more autonomy, but still, and then the rules changed within a few years of you coming on board, which sparked my exit, and then which ultimately sparked your exit.
Yep.
How did So when you're insurance company number 2, there were a lot of signs, right? And we discussed this many times.
Mhm.
We met, and getting an idea, and I think I was maybe a year and a half in of opening Cornerstone, and I think it was one meeting where you guys just kind of looked at each other and go, yeah, this is it. Not so much Cornerstone in general, but the independent channel, right? It just checks all the boxes for you, where you guys spent insurance company number 1 and number 2, not just operating freely as advisors. You had to operate as an advisor, but within this thin hallway, right? How do I get through this thin hallway? How do I conform to the rules? We know compliance is always set in those environments to the lowest common denominator, right? The person that just got licensed yesterday. How do we constrain them so they don't mess something up? And that applied to that person and with someone with 30 years and all the credentials in the world, right? Let's talk about this. How did your clients respond to your transition from the captive arena to the independent channel? I know you had these discussions with a lot of your clients. How did they react to it?
So interesting thing. I'll give you both times really fast. So the first time we moved, our clients were almost, again, we made a bigger deal initially out of what we were doing. Like, we looked at it as, oh, we're making this move, like the clients are going to be, oh, like, you're not, like, we have to re-interview for the job. Absolutely not. Our clients could care less who our custodian is. They didn't care. What they cared about was, hey, why are you doing this? And this is both times, by the way. Why are you doing this? What's the benefit to us? What's the benefit to you? Our clients were really smart about it. I think in a lot of cases, some of our clients even said the funny thing, like, oh, I didn't even realize you were connected to that company. They already thought we had our own thing because they dealt with us. They had nothing to do. Listen, if your clients are calling the 1-800 number at whatever, X firm you're at, then yeah, you have something to worry about. But if they're calling you and your staff, this is just a name change on a piece of paper that they get on a monthly basis. And that's truly, and again, our clients actually were really positive about it. And even now, I feel like our clients are excited just because of the level of customization that we have for them that we didn't have before. From what they see, the portals we had, like all that. I mean, I feel like all of our clients were really positive about it. And then even after we made the change, they all said to us, they were like, hey, this was a good move. We've been waiting for when this was going to happen. Some of them actually said, which I thought was interesting.
Hey, Carmine, on the topic of technology now, obviously when you're in those constrained environments where compliance is developed around the lowest common denominator, technology was limited.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, insurance company number 1, insurance company number 2, you had a little more autonomy, but still very limited. Today, how do you feel like the depth of technology availability now? How does that affected first your client experience, but two, how you guys run that company?
So I'll start with, so when we were at the last insurance company, we actually put in technology for project management and things away from like client management.
Mhm.
So we can manage it with our staff, and so it can be organized, right? Because the technology we had it was non-existent, right? So one of the major things, being independent now and having all those tools set up, has impacted our workflows and our kind of back end tremendously, to the point where when we made the transition, we actually dropped our staff, right? There were some other outside factors, but the technology was actually able to replace a lot of what they were doing at the previous firms, because of the automation and just how efficient they were, right? So technology is definitely a huge component of why Dave and I wanted to go down the independent path. And for the clients too, it's been great. Our portals, just from tracking, like as simple as tracking performance on investments, we didn't have that at our previous firm. They got a quarterly statement, and that's it. They couldn't track and see what their account was up year to date, or unless they logged into the custodian site, but then you see all the positions. And so I think from their perspective, our clients tell us all the time they love the platform, and even with our communication with them, right? It's so easy to just blast out a message to all the clients and keep them informed and communicate with them. So I would have to say our clients are very happy with the technology we have, and we keep adding more things to the platform, whether it's on the investment front or just on some of the ways we communicate with them. I think we're always adding. But I think the major thing on the technology is how we communicate with like Dave and I communicate with each other, with, say like the alpha team or someone else at the firm. I think that's where the technology really comes into play, because everything's integrated. Where the problem was when we were at our previous firm, yes, we set up some technology to manage some of these projects, but we can't have certain information in them, like private client information. So that was always omitted, which created another step to do. Nothing spoke to each other. So we were constantly having to look at like multiple systems. So the fact that everything communicates and there's APIs, integration setup, is amazing. And the fact that we can add things pretty much whenever we want, obviously compliance approved and things like that, really has changed our business dramatically, to the point where, like I said earlier, we dropped our staff for a period, and I think it just changed the way we operate too, from a business perspective.
It's so underrated having the street versions of stuff too, by the way. It's so underrated because like all the time you go and work for a company or work at a company, right? And you have this version of that software that is approved by them and is usually around their core product set. That's what we learned. So now that's the advantages of being in a couple different firms and having takeovers happen. You get to see how the same exact software changes depending on what their rules of the game are. So for us, having the street version of stuff now is like, we were playing T-ball the entire time. We just didn't know it. We weren't playing actual baseball. We just didn't realize it because we didn't know anything else. And
T-ball with a wiffle ball bat.
Yeah, T-ball with a wiffle ball, right?
That's good.
Yeah, and for the most part now, seeing like getting out of that and now looking and going, oh man, I can't even believe how inefficient that was and how bad that software was with the constraints. But anyway, I digress.
So let's talk about transition, because this is, and I talk to advisors on the weekly from wirehouses, insurance companies, other indie channels. And their biggest, especially if they were there for a long time, have never done a transition, which was my case, 17 years at that insurance company, not knowing what to expect. Like when you guys resigned and we started the process here, there was a lot of anxiety those first couple of days. In fact, you guys did what I think was very smart, is that you guys moved in our office for 4 or 5 months. Like the day you transitioned, you were here, because our service team, when we onboard a new advisor, we would do one transition at a time. So everyone's working on one transition. So you guys had asked, I go, great, do it. And I think that really helped your transition, all the logistics. But 30 days after the transition, did some of that anxiety go away from say, call that D-Day, the day you resigned, to, so 30 days out, do you remember how you felt at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the Amalfi Coast on my honeymoon, so I was feeling
Oh, that's right. So
feeling
you don't
very
know.
good.
I should be asking Dave that.
Yeah.
But even you know what's funny? So I remember the day we resigned, and I remember looking at Dave. We sent the emails, and I remember looking at him and being like, I feel relieved. I didn't feel any anxiety. I felt very just relieved. It was like that moment of just, hey, we're doing it. We did it because we were talking about it for probably almost a couple of years. Obviously, some anxiety set in once, you realize, okay, well, now all the accounts have to come over and all this has to happen. But
Mhm.
I felt really good. And then, throughout the transition process, I think we had experience doing a transition, which was much smaller at that time, right? It was a longer time ago. But just once again, the technology we have today and the technology on the platform that enabled us to do the transition was very seamless. And I couldn't I think we handled it pretty well, and I think that helped ease a lot of the anxiety.
We were percentage wise. I think also when we did the first time we moved, we were doing stuff on paper.
Oh yeah.
So everything we were dealing with
Oh, right.
FedExes and and all that fun stuff. So the second time, like you leave, and then at the same time, all of these applications to transfer accounts are happening at the exact same time. And now you're sitting back on a dashboard watching your clients sign them, and you're like, okay, it's only a matter of days before this money comes over. You know what I mean?
You
And
know,
that was really, I think we moved 50% really fast of the clients, like really, really super fast. And then, and then there were some stragglers, right? But for the most part, we retained 99% of our clients. We quite
and that
literally,
has to do with great conversations and the why, right? The why we're doing this is, and I talked about this before in other webinars, when you call that client, say, hey, look, I decided to move, and these are the reasons why.
Mhm.
Can't tell you to move with me, but you're free to choose whatever advisor you like. Just want to let you know, right?
Mhm.
But when you get into the whys, when you really peel that onion about the independent, I was just telling someone about this week, and it really has a little bit of depth of our industry, but didn't know, like in a financial advisor and a wirehouse or insurance companies, much different definition than an independent advisor. When you start telling the clients the why, they're doing, and to your point, they're doing business with us. They weren't doing business with us because of the name on the building. You're asking your clients to rehire you again, but now they're actually coming along for this new journey. They're part of this new chapter, the chapter that is all about client impact and acting in the client's best interest. Where before, listen, we've always acted that way, but the box we were in didn't want us to, and we just kept. It was constantly a fight.
Yeah.
When you tell those clients, when you tell any of those clients, this is the reason why, and it's very impactful. So during transition, here's something I always like to ask: is that what's the worst thing that happened? Was it something that you could have changed? Was it something because we all get the good, right? Leaving a constrained environment, going independent, and yeah, there's a couple months of work involved, and depending
Right.
on the firm, they either support you during transition or they don't. We are very hands-on during transition because that's the first this is the first project we're doing with an advisor team, right? The last thing I want is that to be a bad experience. That sets the stage for, doubt, and I don't want that, right? So we deploy probably too many resources in transition because we want that to go. We've done more than a dozen, or we're at a dozen now, and we haven't had, I mean, knock on wood, not one issue because that's very sacred. I want to make sure that these experiences are good because our agreements are very clear. You guys can leave tomorrow, right? So there's nothing holding you here. And I'm a firm believer in we control the controllables. We can overstaff for a transition. So when you guys come at the back end of this 90 days, 60 days out, I'm like, this was not what I thought it was going to be. Much easier. And we're rev neutral. Let's talk about revenue. When were you rev neutral? I believe it was third billing cycle. So I think it was 90 days, but I'm not 100% sure. Do you guys remember?
I think that's right.
That's
I
pretty
think it was
accurate.
around 90.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's accurate.
I think it was around 90 days.
So
Yeah.
let me go back before I miss this, but what was the worst thing that happened or something you wish you would have done differently?
I mean, for the most part, everything we like, this is something that we had wanted. It's not like we made a decision and pulled the trigger. Like we were looking into doing this for a year. I mean, when before we had talked to you, we were creating our own RIA. That was our intention. In fact,
Mhm.
that's the reason why we even had a discussion with you. I think a the mutual friend that was like, hey, by the way, do you remember Carm? And right. So like, I feel like when we connected and we started having the conversations, like everything that we would have done, you already did. So I don't think there was anything, like, you know what I'm saying, as far as anxiety, like there was
Mhm.
none of that. There was nothing that I think was like, oh, we didn't expect this or anything. We kind of knew what the situation was. If anything, it went smoother than we thought. Smoother than we thought because again, we'd experienced that previous transition. So I really don't have any. I could tell you the one thing that was hard for me was just learning to new technology.
Mhm.
My learning curve is a little longer than Carmine is. Carmine and I have a little bit of an age gap, but my learning curve is just a little bit longer than his. So that was the hardest thing for me. But again, I think in the fact that we were in your office, it was super simple. Like if I had a question, if I didn't understand something, there was support there for me. You know what I mean? So I
I,
think
I think that was a great move. We have offices in 5 states, so logistically for some advisors, it would. But I'll tell you, being here, you even got, we're talking to some advisor teams in different states, and I'm like, listen, I think we're going to put you up for the first week. I think you should be here the first, like, give it, the first week because it went so much better. Your transition versus others. So, you guys really were beta testers with being in house. And speaking of beta testers, this is something that you joined Cornerstone in 22.
Mhm.
And in 21, so we created something called the Alpha Team. And this is where this is where the idea came from, is I was in a mastermind group in Denver with about 20 advisors from around the country, from Alaska to Florida. A member of a couple mastermind groups of advisors all around the country. And I went around the room and I said, hey, what's the one service your firm today doesn't provide that you wish they did? And out of 20, I believe it was 13 or 14 people said access to administrative staff. Because we talk about the 3 identities of an advisor. To be an advisor in this industry, you need to be obviously a good advisor to your clients, a business owner, day-to-day, payroll, benefits, things like that, rent, space, all the day-to-day blocking, tackling of a business owner. And third is an entrepreneur. Where's the industry going? What services are we providing? How do we scale? Joe Lucas will always say this, about 90+% of advisors are not good business people, not good entrepreneurs, but they're fantastic advisors. Right. So I went around the room and sure enough, 13 or 14 out of 20 said access to administrative staff. When the other people that didn't say that go, oh yeah, I'd put that down as one of my top. I immediately left the room at break and I called our chief operating officer and I said, hey, we need to look into offering this to teams. Like, let's talk about this when we get back. Flash forward today, we've created what's called the Alpha Team, that advisors that can subscribe to, where we have 4 full-time staff people that handle all your scheduling, pre and post meeting, any NIGOs, money movement, the whole nine. It's administrative staff that you don't have to hire, police, train, have a space for. It's literally plug and play. You guys were the beta testers last April
Yep.
was month 1 for you guys. So we're just a year in. And what's great about this relationship is every month we had a check-in meeting. Hey, how's it going? What can they be doing? What's not working? What's working? And we use Wealthbox. We have a ton of workflows that the Alpha Team has built out for every advisor team. We now have, I think there's next month will be 6 teams, 6 of our advisor teams using the Alpha Team. The Alpha Team, we have another person starting on Monday to join the team. 2 will be CFPs in July. I'm really excited. This has grown. And I really appreciate both of you because it took time in the beginning because you guys were the first ones. It was all new. But your feedback has been invaluable. In fact, our offering has morphed a lot because of the feedback you've been giving us. What has been your experience with having this access to administrative staff without actually having administrative staff physically?
I think, and I mentioned earlier on this, right, that we dropped our staff, but we did engage with the Alpha team
Yeah.
very quickly. So we had to replace some of that administrative role. I think that it's been a great experience, number one, and we love being a part of building out the service because I think we have some good input from our past experience.
Mm.
But I think we learned a lot from a process standpoint or a workflow standpoint for things that we never really had set in stone. Like, for example, like review meetings, right? And having a process document, like here's how it works, and learning from that because now we adopted it, right? And that's a testament to, I don't know, it was your process. So I think we learned a lot about the workflows and how to run our business more efficiently. Obviously, with the new technology, which was new to us as well.
Mm.
So I think we learned a lot there. Another something that's great too is just the training aspect, right? Is, our industry is always changing. TD Ameritrade went to Schwab. It was another learning curve, right? But it was nice that the training was off of Dave and my plate, and was handled by that Alpha team, and we didn't have to hop in and train them. In fact, they know more than we do about most platforms, right? Because that opened our time up to doing the things we need to do, like you said, being an entrepreneur, a business owner, and an advisor to our clients. So I think creating that time and having the expertise and training is, I enjoy doing it. Just, takes time to train someone and doing it the right way. So I think those are the big benefits to having an Alpha team type setup.
Dave, anything you want to add? Anything? I know it's been a positive impact from our feedback, but
It's been really, I mean, listen, it's been really great because, well, again, someone like myself, I am, I guess I'm probably like most advisors in the sense that, like, I'm not going to say I fear doing paperwork and all operation. I don't fear it per se, but it's one of the things it's if I had a list of the thing that I least like, that would be on the list. Without a doubt, that'd be 1, 2, or 3. And it's just nice to know that there's a place to delegate that to that has dealt with it over and over and over and over again. I mean, like, right? I mean, just it's they deal with every problem for a couple of us right now, a few advisors. Chances are they've seen it happen and they know how to deal with it, so we don't have the NIGO issue. Like, I would love to see the data on it. And I've never even asked you for this. I would, the longer that we've gone down this path, I'm sure the NIGO rates are probably virtually zero. Or
we have, our rep from Schwab was in a couple weeks, 3 weeks ago. He came out. He's in Arizona, but East Coast is his. And he commended us on that. And he didn't know we had this version of Alpha Team, what we call the Alpha Team or the A Team. He was very impressed. Not many firms have this kind of setup. And when I built Cornerstone, it was all about recognizing that 90+% of advisors are not built like me, right? I enjoy being the business owner, the entrepreneur. I still maintain about 62 households as an advisor because I love being an advisor.
Right.
But they're recognizing that just about everyone else here, they're not very good business owners and not very good entrepreneurs. Great. What's the biggest three biggest time wasters that advisors have? One is portfolio management. 2 is administrative staff, and 3 is actual working in financial planning. So we've been running money for Cornerstone Advisors and other advisors since 2011. So we have a turnkey portfolio asset management program. The Alpha team is built out and growing as we speak right now. And 3rd, we have the Bravo team being trained, which is where an advisor can say, hey, look, I want to offload all my software generation for all my financial planning clients, right? So we actually have training right now across multiple softwares, which should be live in Q3. But that was my goal. Eliminate as many of these things. And by the way, growth, people have a misconception about growth. I want to double my business. Well, great. Do you know that these types of goals and objectives is more about eliminating than it is about adding? So our default was, we need more staff. We need a bigger office. I want to get these 3 technologies and charge fees for this, and that. Well, stop. What do you need to eliminate first? And eliminating the daunting task of sitting on hold with the custodian because there's an IGO or there's a move money that bounced or something. that's not enabling you to be an advisor, an entrepreneur, or a business owner.
Yeah.
So, you know, I built this all with that in mind, is that, by the way, we have true alignment. Like your vision is my vision. True alignment's when our visions overlap. We still don't agree. It's we want the same outcome. And, you know, having the Alpha team and the Bravo team coming on shortly is going to enable you guys to just be advisors to your clients. Just do it and grow. And that's how you scale. And we're going to continue to move the needle. And we did have,
Sorry, I was just saying, I want to make one comment
Yeah.
on it. I feel like for, you know, I think there's two good paths with it. And again, I'm not just saying that because we participate in it, but I think there's two good paths here. If you want to grow, like we're hiring that executive assistant role, which is more project management based. We're hiring that, but we're keeping the Alpha team because we realize it makes sense to continue to delegate that. So it's nice from a growth perspective that we can get someone and bring them in. They can be that much more effective and that much more specialized for our practice and not deal with those other blocking and tackling items that we need. But additionally, I think if you're a lifestyle, like I have a friend that's a lifestyle that I know, I know at some point we got to get him over here because he's a guy that would benefit because he wants more time with his kids. He wants more time with his family. And I think that, again, taking those things off, having someone do them that has the expertise, to me, I think that's, I think that's a huge benefit. If I was there where I wasn't looking to grow and looking to be lifestyle, that is something that to me would be very attractive.
There shouldn't be any of, you know, when you read Who Not How by Dr. Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan, is every problem a business owner, entrepreneur, advisor has, is this how do I need to figure this out, or who do I need to figure this out?
Right.
And 9 out of 10 times, it's usually a who.
Yep.
But here's the thing though, an outsourced service like this creates actually 2 levels of who, not how. Because if you say to yourself, I need to track our ACATs, or I need to clear up these NIGOs, or do this, send out we're onboarding 3 new clients. Is this a who, not how? It's definitely a who. Great. We're going to hire administrative staff, but stop. Are you going to figure out how to hire, how to train, HR, benefit, like all this other stuff, or is that a who? So now you can offload, you offload that all to us. And all of 4 Alpha team members are here in Fairfield, New Jersey, where and they have oversight from me and our COO here live. So it's not just the 4 people that are in the team. If the team gets a messed up answer, they're going to walk to the COO's office and go, hey, I got this really messed up answer from Schwab. Does this look right? So you get the whole team. And all that does is empowers people to go, even whether it's biz dev, taking COIs out to lunch, or to your point, go spend more time with your kids, go on a retreat, go on a sabbatical, take time off. Like, by the way, when you take time off, we got your back, we got you covered, right? Go detach. Like, you know this, I'm a master of detachment. And that's the time where I do what I call deep work. And that's working on myself or the business, but you can't do that while you're working. It's impossible. You can't do it. We ran over. The question that was posted was answered. I don't have any other question. If anyone has a question, please post it in the Q&A. We'll get this recording out to the people that couldn't make it, but I want to thank you both. Dave is joining us from office in Red Bank, and Carmine's out in Long Island. So we got like the triangle of death here, Fairfield, Red Bank, Long Island. It's pretty funny. But thanks again for your time, and thank you again for being the beta testers on the Alpha team. You guys made a huge impact for us and helped us out, and we'll continue to move the needle. And thanks for sharing about your road to independence. And thank you, everyone. I will see everyone soon. Have a great, beautiful rest of your Wednesday. Take care.
Thanks, Carl.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.